Would you come with me to France? We could dance on the Champs-Élysées. Let's take a chance on amour.
Good day, and welcome to Notes and Notions from the Writing Desk. I'm your host, Joanne de Simone, and I am very happy to be here today. Always thank you to LTV East Hampton for this wonderful opportunity to not only showcase my work, but to have wonderful guests share this time with me. We need public access. It's essential. Let's keep it going. That beautiful song that you just heard was written by James and Carolyn Conlon. That's What Love Is For. And they were kind enough to let me use that as my theme song on this show. And I thank you. On this March 4th, 2020, I would like to send a birthday shout out to a man who was for a time the camera to my quill. So happy birthday to you and a big, healthy click. Also, as I do every day of my life, I send my best wishes and good tidings to Mr. Steven Spielberg. I hope that one day Mr. Spielberg meets my Metro Cats and my Millicent Wright, because I know it'll be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. But today we have a very special guest, Eric Kuzmuk, who is an actor, director, and been longtime member and too involved to even go to on this show with the Amateur Comedy Club and Episcopal Actors Guild in New York, and so many other wonderful organizations. So I want to thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with me. This is such a treat.
The pleasure's
And so Eric is going to join me and help me and grace this program by reading two scenes from a play that I wrote about 10 years ago, Norma Jean Enlightened, and we'll talk about how he was involved with that too. So two scenes from the play Norma Jean Enlightened, and I think that maybe we'll just start with reading the two excerpts.
Absolutely.
And then we could talk about it.
I'll do my best.
All right.
Kennedy and Arthur Miller.
We're gonna begin. Name of the name of the play, Norma Jean Enlightened. Upon her death, Marilyn Monroe finds herself on a beach where she is now a young Norma Jean and where she meets her chaperone, the brilliant Italian actress of the early 20th century, Eleonora Duse, who guides Norma Jean to reconcile with some of the people she has known in her life here on Earth. In this scene, Norma Jean encounters a young naval officer, Jack. Enter Jack. Jack?
Yes, ma'am. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, Lieutenant Junior Grade, United States Navy, ma'am.
Ma'am, don't you know me? It's Marilyn, Norma Jean. You probably don't recognize me.
I do recognize you, Marilyn. You look younger, very pretty, very promising.
Would you mind calling me Norma Jean?
Of course not. Call me Jack.
I already did. Jack, did you like her, Marilyn?
Yes, I liked her. I liked women. I liked attractive women.
But I wasn't special to you, right?
They're all special in some way. With you, well, it became complicated. I needed to step back from you. I needed to take a more serious look at what I already had and what was at stake, given my job at the time. I needed to stay home, or at least try. I had the perfect wife.
I could have been the perfect wife, too.
Are you sure about that? Think about it. You were much too insecure. But I did admire your fortitude in your career. However, you would not have survived my philandering. You would have fallen apart in no time at all. You needed too much attention.
But I was serious. I was in a very tough business. I had to survive a lot more than state dinners and the latest fashion. I stood up against lecherous studio heads, bloated directors, and conceited actors. I stood up when Arthur was called to testify. I stood up. I survived it all. It wasn't just the bedroom. It couldn't have been. You asked me for my advice. You, the president, asked for my advice. Why you used to practice your speeches with me, remember? Oh yes, in Colombia, remember? and that love of freedom to which all of us are committed by our inheritance and our desire. That was my idea. And remember, I told you that everybody was so impressed with Jackie because she spoke so many languages?
Yes, I remember.
And I told you to learn something, maybe a little German?
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Icky what?
A little German.
See, I did help you.
You did help me, but it was our little secret, and you couldn't keep a secret.
I was humiliated.
I'm sorry.
Jack, why did you come here?
I don't know what to say to you. You looked to powerful, successful men, and I will admit there was a lot more to you than the public saw. Much more than a sex symbol, but who really knew that? You were an intelligent woman, probably much more than a plaything, but for me, I already had a wife, and no matter how lovely you were, no matter how intelligent, I would not have married you. I am sorry for what happened with Bobby, too. If you allow yourself to get past the disappointment, I believe you will see the truth. You didn't love me. You loved power.
All right. You're probably right. I didn't love you. And I did want to be taken seriously. I wanted to be a serious actress, and I wanted to be a serious wife. Well, the wife of the President of the United States is about as serious as a girl can get.
Did you expect me to divorce Jackie?
Yes. At the time, I believe I did, but now I know that...
What, then? Marry you?
Yes. At the time,
That would have been impossible. My father would never have allowed it.
Are you saying that if your father approved of me, you would have considered marrying me?
No, I would have never married you. Marilyn, Norma Jean. I don't want to say things that will hurt you, but look where we are. All of that is over with. Let me tell you this, you were spared. You would not have wanted Jackie's life. In some ways, you were similar women. You were both admired and both envied. Those two emotions seldom exist without each other. When one is admired, envy is soon to follow like a sinister shadow. And if it helps any, you will be remembered long after the memory of Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy fades.
I don't believe that.
Yes, it is true. Your light is too bright, and dying young always seems to keep one's memory alive. People will be talking about your life and your death for generations. A very bright light. I am grateful that I was one of the lucky moths to flap around it for a while.
Thank you, I think.
Don't mention it. I was told when I crossed over that I could choose my appearance. I think I understand why you chose yours.
You do? I'm not even sure why. Did I want to stay young?
Young, yes, but not young for the sake of youth's beauty, but for the hope, the innocent hope that belongs to the young mind, ignorant of the users, the manipulators, the manufacturers.
I was an appliance.
That's a good way to put it. Norma Jean, do you know why I chose this appearance?
No, I don't.
For the same reason you chose yours. I wanted to look and feel the way I did was when I was in the war. None of the responsibility forced on me later on. I want to be carefree always. The sea is freeing. I wanted to be Jack, not JFK, Jack, before I succumbed to the suffocating stench of politics, before I surrendered to my father's dream of having a son for a president. If Joe had lived, well, anyway, I tried to think of the presidency as being a captain of a ship. The thought freed my mind. The thought made the job bearable. Jackie was the anchor. The other women in my life were a form of shore leave. Now, here we are on a beach. The beach suits you. How young and innocent you look. For me, I am hoping for a ship, the real thing. I hope I get a big ship, a destroyer.
Why did you come here? Why did you want to see me?
I don't know, but it was something I knew I had to do. I felt as if I had to make you understand the way things were. You saw me as a powerful man, but none of us ever has any power. No one does, Norma Jean.
But you were the president. Powerful.
Powerful? No. How much power can a man have when when he can be eradicated in a split second? What you imagine to be power is really fame, and fame is fleeting. I heard your chaperone say, as I arrived, that everyone dies all over the world. Newspapers are jammed with the stories about my death. There will be inquiries and probes and books, and it will go on for decades. But in the end, all that happened was that I died. Well, just like everyone else has or will. Well, I want you to know something. I will remember you, not for your beauty or your sexuality, but something much more enduring.
What is that?
Your humor and your wit. Well, Bobby knew that too. You frightened him, Bobby. Tough and implacable Bobby. He was sent on my orders to dismiss you. Instead, he was charmed by you. It seemed incredulous at the time. He was the responsible one. He thought he was going to fire some brainless sex machine. But to his surprise, you were smart, intelligent, perhaps too intelligent. It was a mistake. He had to let go.
You mean I'm not a dumb joke?
Not at all.
But I was no Jackie, right?
Luckily for you, really. She was with me when, you know.
She was? How awful.
I must be going now. Oh, one more thing.
Yes?
I'm sorry about that August night. It must have been so lonely for you. I never meant for you to suffer. I had to get the book, your red diary. It seemed so vital to our survival. All of us, me, Bobby, the Kennedy name. What I am trying to say is...
You mean when I think about it, all that happened was I died?
I told you. Witty.
Will I see you again?
No. And now I must go to wait for Bobby.
End scene. Exit Jack. Now in this scene, Norma Jean she meets Arthur Miller.
And who's to blame? Perhaps our spiritual notion of marriage in the old days. A man married a wife. Now he forms a business partnership with a career woman.
Arthur?
Oh, whatever happened to love? Healthy, sensual love. It died somewhere along the way.
Oh, Arthur, you were my chance to be known as a serious actress, married to the greatest American playwright.
Oh, but it was not love, Norma.
Funny, but you always called me Norma. I thought I loved you in a way. I didn't mean to...
Manipulate me.
I was afraid to fail. I was afraid I wouldn't be good enough.
You were good enough, or not, perhaps not suited to me, but you were good and brave.
Brave?
Do you think I was unappreciative?
How?
You stood by me at the risk of your career, at those awful hearings.
I had to. I wanted to. It was so unfair.
Yes, it meant so much to me. I was grateful. You showed such strength. It was then I knew that you were strong, that you could stand up to anyone, and you did, Norma. But then it fell apart. You fell apart. You used me. Well, I became a lobby boy for you, a butler and a nurse. I was like a pet performing for you. Even my work, well, you consumed my creative spirit. I only thought of you. I wrote only for you. In the end, my work suffered, and the fiery promise of your acting ability was drowned in insecurity and paranoia. The words I wrote for you intimidated you, frightened you, and you crumbled. No one paid attention.
But it was your idea, Arthur. You said yourself, attention must be paid.
Don't, please. You wanted too much attention, the way a child needs attention. Norma, a child badly in need of a father. You called me Daddy. Why, it was flirting with incest.
I never.
You always. It was suffocating. Well, I tried to protect you, and you dismissed me like a servant. What was left, Norma, was pity. I pitied you, and you pitied me. Well, not even mutual self-respect survived. It was never love.
But our baby, Our baby boy, we would have loved him.
You would have smothered him too. Don't misunderstand me, Norma. At the time, I truly wanted to have the baby. I honestly thought you would have grown up when the baby came, but now I see that the baby would have suffered from your endless need for affection.
But I would have been somebody's mother. But the baby died. I couldn't stop it. He slipped out of me and his life ended in a red pool on a cold basement floor.
That was terrible. And terrible for me and horrible for me. I was left with the burden of caring for you. What you didn't know was that I had guilt, crippling guilt.
About me? About the baby boy?
Well, some, yes, but the baby. But before that, my family, my children.
You took care of them.
It was difficult.
It wasn't easy for me, Arthur. Somehow you changed. You were different after a while.
I had no choice. You were impossible to keep up with. Exhausting. You know, Norma, in a way, I died when we met. With you, I thought I'd happily and surprisingly stumbled on my lost youth. The consequence was that I had to die as a young man, still filled with all the yearnings and desires. It would have been better to have left it where it belonged. There is a time for everything. When something is gone, it's gone. And you, Norma, whenever you lost faith or trust in someone, you felt betrayed. So you let go with a homicidal blow. Cruel, really.
I killed you?
Let's just say you were an unwitting accomplice to a suicide. Norma, it's not your fault. You were supposed to make me forget my girl with the flaxen hair, but she came to life in you, and I was forced to watch her suffer. She was better off living in my mind, where she would have remained perfect. As I said, when something is gone, it is gone, and I know that now.
I was looking for a father, and you were searching for her. We were both fooled. But your talent, that could never die. Your voice.
My voice was your voice for far too long.
That wasn't my fault. You used my words, my own words. You took my words for a character in a movie.
Did I? A character? I was a writer, Norma. Writers need a source of inspiration. You were the only one there. And who was Rosalind? Well, she was you, Norma. You couldn't see that I wanted to bring out the best in you. You took your cues from a second-rate acting coach who strained your wallet and who wanted to keep you just good enough or bad enough to ride your gravy train. So long as you trusted her, you were doomed. There was enough inside you, if that was their game, to incarnate Rosalind.
Well, I fired Paula, but you must admit, Rosalind was weak.
Oh, no. You could not see that Rosalind was my gift to you, a tribute to your goodness and kindness, the woman inside you. You were a gentlewoman with a steely spine. You were strong, Norma. You took on the Hollywood bosses. If only you were able to overcome the neediness. If only you could have looked in the mirror and were able to see the real woman, whole, with everything to offer the right man. It was no crime to be gentle. You would have survived it all. Rosalind was the best performance you ever gave. It was honest. It was true. My words, your words, what did it matter? Rosalind, like you, could not see anything suffer. To me, you were like one of the wild mustangs. I didn't want to see you get slaughtered and fed to the dogs. The only way for me to save you was with words. Well, I was a warrior, but my weapon was a single pen, my artillery. Words. You could not hear the words. You could not see the truth. In the end, I was tired. My arsenal of words was used up, and you remained that frightened little girl. Norma, it was okay to grow up.
What did you say?
I said it was okay to grow up.
Papa.
Did you listen to anything I said?
Yes, I did. But I didn't mean you, Arthur. My papa. My father, he came here. He came here to see me.
Your father?
Yes, my real father, my very own father. He told me that it was okay to grow up and that I could still be his little girl.
Oh, I'm very glad, Norma.
But you were okay, right? You found a new life? You found your own voice, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had a new wife. Life after you, Norma, was essentially to survive, well, and to write again. But I was very happy for many years.
Did you write again?
Yes, I wrote.
Not about me. I hope you didn't write about me.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry.
But you promised.
I know, but I write, Norma. It's the only way.
I need to know. Another tribute? Another Rosalind?
Hardly.
Well, I don't care. I just need to know one thing.
And what is that?
Was she a joke?
Nobody laughed. You belong here. The beach.
Someone else told me that.
I'm leaving now, but I want to leave you with these words from a voice much better than mine. The solemn temples, the great globe itself, yes, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our life is rounded with a sleep.
Exit Arthur. Well,
Well,
that
that
was wonderful.
Yeah, just
Thank you.
A joyful blind reading in a way, but it's. But
Did
I
did you
realized that
enjoy
I
it?
had, I had once said memorize that whole Arthur Miller part for
Yes, and that's what I wanted to say, that Eric played Arthur Miller in a production of Norma Jean Enlightened, and he not only did he memorize the part of Arthur for this play,
No.
but he was in another play
I was in my first
simultaneously
musical
in
that
another
time, yeah.
studio, and
had to
it
be-
really tested his mettle, but he always comes out great. And I thank you. I enjoyed reading this with you today.
Well, very much, because in so many ways you write for me. I mean, you're the actor's dream is to have a writer who understands the talent possessed within and can bring it out, can actually play with my talent and put words into my mouth, very much as Arthur Miller says
Well,
in this,
thank you,
that he
yes.
did for Norma Jean, who became
Right.
Marilyn. And he reflects on her and how he subsumed his own conscience and his own muse to her.
Yes.
As, in a way, his beautiful puppet, but he didn't realize that until he had to leave her.
That's right. That's a very good point. That since she was the only one around him, he actually had to manufacture everything that he wrote. He had to write about her. She had to be there.
It's astounding. And how did you learn that in your research for that play?
I listened to some interviews that Arthur Miller gave. Did a lot of reading on Marilyn Monroe, several books, and of course I think everyone knows about Marilyn, but I think we can agree, I know a lot of people don't, but we believe she was murdered because he was telling her some secrets and she couldn't keep a secret. She was about to spill the beans.
Well, of course.
And so she had to go, as they say in the
I
mob.
think a lot
you
of-
know, she had to go.
I think a lot of people
Yeah.
felt that way about her, men
Yes.
especially, that they were being undermined in a way by her beauty
Yes.
and their lack of control in response to it.
Yes, and the lack of control. And you know that Peter Lawford is a good friend of hers, and he was the messenger. He had to take care of everything, the fixer in the family. And after she died, he went downhill, as you know. Peter Lawford just basically drank himself to death because he really could not handle what happened that August night, as we talk about that August night in '62.
Presumably, yes, that
Yeah, August 5th.
he delivered the message.
Yeah, he had to, and Bobby as well. But before we have a couple of minutes, but I wanted to talk about some of the other projects that you're involved in. Are you doing anything now?
Well, I'm presently
in the
trying
city?
to develop 2 plays to be brought from non-published status and to be actually realized in a full setting, a full stage setting. One of them is The Gay Men with Wives. And by Schuyler Bishop.
Oh.
And another one is This Senseless Killing. And I'm trying to do that by presenting it to my theater company, the Amateur Comedy Club, although
Yes,
it's
right.
a misnomer amateur. We are for the love of it.
You're not amateurs, I can assure you.
Yes, and
I've been there with you, you know.
since 1884, existing there with our own theater
There you
on
go.
East 36th Street.
Yes.
But what we're doing is trying to create a setting where actors can read the play in front of the authors,
Yes.
and they can then perhaps better dramaturg them
Dramaturg that, yes.
for presentation.
Yes,
And both
that's
plays
always
are
good.
uniquely suitable for our club because it's a gentleman's club, and we
Right.
cast from amongst the gentlemen. So we need a preponderance of male characters in the plays that we're going to do. So we're developing these plays to just see if they'll work for us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, I've seen you in a lot of productions,
yes.
and I really think my favorite is Moonlight and Magnolias,
Oh, my
about
God, yes.
how David O. Selznick, he
Selznick,
played,
yes.
how they actually the search for Scarlet and how it practically killed
the
him.
search
He
for
was
a
so
scenario. I mean, for an actual play.
Yeah.
It was the process by which Selznick trapped the future director and the screenwriter into his office and said, "We've got to rewrite this. We've got to cut 3 hours out of this
I
script
know, it was
and get
just
it down to the
wonderful.
bare knuckles."
It was so I don't know how you did it, but it was absolutely wonderful.
I had the first and last line and every other line in between in that
It was
95-minute
great.
play, and it was. But I had a beautiful director. I had
Yes.
Penny Bergman, who's a Tony Award. Yes.
And this was great. This is great. I want to thank you.
Oh, you're darling.
It's
Believe me,
wonderful.
to have a
Listen, I
muse.
want to thank you for joining us today with Eric Kuzmuk, and I hope to share time with him again. But as always, I close. Remember to take note that the notion of love is universal. Let the love light, your love light, shine through and touch everyone you meet. So thank you. Till next time. Ciao.
I hear the castanets are calling. May I have this dance, por favor. And I don't care where we are, as long as I am there with you. 'Cause there's a place in the world for those who say I love you. And if we wish upon a star, we'll never be alone. 'Cause we could travel here and far. We could stay right here at home.